Thank you for joining us today. I'll be giving a video demonstration to the new Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission online application in Qualtrics. The purpose of this online application is to collect information for the new MRC Connect program to assist applicants who are interested in learning more on MRC services. The MRC programs that are currently included on the online application are the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, the statewide head injury program, the home care assistance program, and the supported living program. As a point of reference, completing this application does not determine eligibility for applicants, but rather inform them that they may benefit from certain services from any of the MRC programs listed on the application. This demonstration is just meant to give an overview of the application. And as such, we'll be covering some of the basic aspects of this form, which include how to fill out the online application, the various questions on the online application, and what the applicant will see once they've completed and submitted the application in Qualtrics. So let's continue to scroll through this application. We notice there's some preamble language here, which is just meant to guide and assist individuals and inform them on some of the available programs at MRC. You'll also notice there are hyperlinks attached to each of the listed MRC programs on this page. When applicants click this will direct them to the mass.gov website for further information related to that program if they would like to learn more. As we continue to scroll, we'll notice that there's some additional language around the VR and the home care assistance program, as these programs carry age requirements that must be met in order to receive services from either program. We also notice there is an MRC Connect number for applicants that they can call if they're having difficulty filling out the form or if they need assistance filling out the form, and also for general questions. So, let's start by trying to fill out the online application. We see the first question here is, which option below describes you? Applicants will have several options to choose from, but they can only select one and cannot select multiple options here. So for purposes of this demonstration video, let's go ahead and select I am a Mass resident with a disability. Please note, the second and the third option are more for referrers. So the first option are for our service providers who may be assisting their consumer and an applicant on how to go through the MRC online application. The third option are for MRC staff members that may be assisting our consumers going through the application. So again, to keep it simple, we're just going to select the first option and proceed with the survey. So we'll scroll down and we see the next option here. Go ahead and click it. Then we see the next question is, do you know which MRC services you're looking to apply for? Here again, we have a yes or a no option. Again, applicants can only select one or the other. They cannot select both. And we'll notice when we select yes, we get another subset of questions regarding what program they are applying for if they know. Then we see we get the no option for individuals who don't know what services they want to apply for. When individuals select no and hit the next button, they'll be able to answer further questions that will kind of align them to the appropriate program that they should be trying to fill out a form on for the MRC services they're looking for. And we can visit that in another video, but to keep it simple, let's just pretend we know what services we want to apply for under the MRC programs that were listed. So we see we have the VR program, the SHIP program, the home care program, and the supported living program. Again, in this question, applicants can select multiple options. We should note that when an applicant selects the program I am applying for is not listed, all of the previous selections become unselected. And if they hit next, the next thing they'll see is someone to contact them about MRC services. But again, for purposes of this demonstration video, we'll go ahead and select the VR program, the SHIP program, and the home care program, and then hit next. So the first thing we see here is the VR block on this survey. So again, a little bit of preamble language about VR, some very basic information. Again, applicants can go ahead and click this hyperlink to the VR homepage if they want to learn more about VR than the information that's provided on the online application. And based on that, applicants can choose if they would like to proceed or if they rather not proceed. So let's go ahead and say, no, I don't want to work right now, so I don't want to proceed with the survey. Go ahead and select next. So then we get this contact us question. Would you like someone from MRC to contact you about VR? Let's go ahead and say yes. And then hit the next button. We then see contact details. Applicants can continue to enter their contact information here, so someone from the MRC Connect team can reach out to them with the provided information. We also get a preferred contact method, so they can select what their preference is, whether it's email, phone call, or other. Let's go ahead and say other and text. And then hit the next button. Now, if you recall, we did select multiple programs that we are interested in. So after the VR block, the next block we see is the statewide head injury program, or SHIP. Same kind of scenario here, like in the VR, a little bit more information about SHIP. Again, applicants can click here to be directed to the SHIP page using the hyperlink if they would like to know more. And some of the basic eligibility criteria for SHIP services, and a little definition about traumatic brain injury that may be helpful for applicants to read in case they were unclear. So going through all that, again, we see the question, based on the information provided above, would you like to proceed? So for this one, let's go ahead and say maybe not at this time. We're not interested in receiving services from SHIP. We'll go ahead and select no. Same kind of question. Because we selected no, would we like someone from MRC to contact us about the SHIP program? Let's go ahead and say yes. Maybe we're just curious, but we don't want to fill out an application for SHIP at this time. So you'll notice, because we selected no in the VR block that, we weren't interested in services from VR as well as SHIP, we entered our contact information, which is pre-populated here. So this is to prevent double entry for our consumers or our applicants or referral sources, so they don't have to do double entry on the contact information since it was previously entered in the last survey block. You can, however, make changes if need to, if your information changes from the time you did the VR survey up until now. You can make edits on this, but let's just say the information looks correct. We'll keep it the same. Same kind of thing. We want text messaging. That's our preference. Maybe for this, we want email. So we can go ahead and select email and hit next. And then this was the last selection we made. So we selected Home Care Assistance Program, same kind of layout. So we see some preamble language based on, the home care program, what it is, and what some of the requirements are. For more information, you'll see again, please go to the home care information page. This again, if applicants choose to click on it, can click and be redirected to the mass.gov website, which will provide them a little bit more information on the home care services. So let's go ahead, read through this, and based on the information above, let's say yes, we would like to proceed. Let's go ahead and select yes and hit next. The next question we see is, are you registered with the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, or MCB? Let's go ahead and say yes. So we see here there's a conflict in our answer. Because we indicated that we're registered with the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, we don't meet eligibility requirements for the Home Care Assistance Program. But we also provide applicants with the opportunity to learn more about MCB, and maybe that may be the best suited program for them. So applicants can again click there and be directed to the MCB homepage, or they can call the MRC Connect number that is provided here, and also the times of which the line is open, which is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So good to see here. So let's go back and just revise our question. Let's go ahead and say no. Maybe we're not registered with MCB, and then hit the next button. We see that got us to the next question, which is, do you live with anyone else? So let's go ahead and say, I live with a roommate. Hit the next button. So we see we get another note here that applicants who are applying to the home care program and are living with a roommate will be required to provide verification to MRC. So we see here that they'll be mailed more information about how to submit this form once they've submitted the online application. So let's go ahead and continue with the rest of the questions. The next one under that note is, do you live with a family member over the age of 18 who does not have a disability? Let's go ahead and say no. Again, same kind of thing, just for reference. We want them to note that applicants applying to the home care program who live with an adult family member and have a disability will have to provide additional details to MRC and will be mailed more information about how to submit that. So we'll go ahead and continue with the survey. Are you between the ages of 18 and 59? Let's say yes. And this brings us to the application part of the online form. So we'll start by filling out some of our information. So let's fill in our first name. Middle initial or middle name is optional. Applicants do not need to fill that out. They will need to fill out last name. They will need to enter an address. This is a little bit easier for me because my information is it's pre-populated. So for individuals that may not have that, you'll have to enter in your address, city, state, and zip code. And just for demonstration purposes, let's say we enter the area code incorrectly. Maybe we don't notice, or the applicant doesn't notice going through it and continues to go through the survey. We'll see how Qualtrics has a validation in here that will kind of kick us back to kind of look at our answers to ensure they're entered in correctly. So let's continue and pretend that I didn't see I have extra digits in my zip code. Next thing we see are the optional questions. So was the applicant's last name ever different? We see we have yes, no, unsure. If they select yes, we see they ask them for additional information. What was the other last name the applicant has used? They can go ahead and populate that here. To keep it simple, let's go ahead and say no. We see we did provide a phone number here. So in terms of phone number type, let's go ahead and say that's our cell phone number. Is the mailing address the same as the home address? If applicants say yes, they're free to move on. If they say no, we'll see they need to enter in additional mailing address information here. So let's go ahead and say yes to keep it simple. Do you want to provide an additional phone number? If they say yes, again, they get the additional phone number field that they can go ahead and type in. If they say no, the field disappears. Another optional question, completely up to the consumer if they want to fill this out. What's their preferred method of communication? Here they can select multiple options or all options if they choose so. So let's just go ahead and say text and email. we get preferred language, so they can select one or the other here. Let's go ahead and say English. And then they also have other where they can type out what their preferred English language is if it's not listed here already. So we'll go ahead and say English for this. An optional question here is, do you speak any additional languages? So let's go ahead and pretend our applicant speaks an additional language. If they would like to provide an emergency contact, same kind of scenario with our yes and our no's. If they say yes, they'll be able to provide that information below. If not, perfectly fine. They can move ahead to the applicant date of birth, and we'll enter in our phone number. Our date of birth. And then gender, if they choose to provide that, we can go ahead and select gender. Our gender pronouns, so this will just ensure that MRC staff are referring to the applicant correctly. So let's go ahead and say she. We also have the optional question on marital status. See the options here that they can select from. Go ahead and select one. Another optional question, if they're a veteran, yes, no, unsure. Let's go ahead and hit no. Is the applicant under the age of 18 or do they have a legal guardian? Kind of the same scenario as above, so yes or no. If they select yes, we see that the survey will start to ask them about the legal guardian information. And if they select no, that disappears. We also see, a question about what describes their living situation. So let's just say I live in my own home. We have a question here on health insurance. So if they have health insurance, if they don't, they can select no or unsure. So let's go ahead and say, yes, we have health insurance. We see the next question. The health insurance is provided by, and we have some of the options listed here as well as another option where they can fill out who their health insurance is provided by. So let's go ahead and say Mass Health. They can also provide their health insurance number if they have it. So again, optional. If they don't, that's fine. They can leave it blank. This information can be collected later on through the process. And then another healthcare question about if they're part of any of the following Medicare, Medicaid programs. So we have a couple of options here. Let's go ahead and hit unsure. Have they been treated anywhere for their disability? Let's go ahead and say yes. And say if we know the doctor, this is just a scenario, so give an address here, fake address, but just to get through the demonstration. Have you been treated anywhere for your disability or anywhere else for your disability? So this is just additional information plus the one that was provided above. So if they say yes, they have, they can go ahead and enter that additional information. If not, go ahead and say no, and that is also fine. And then the last question is kind of if they've received services from any of the following, which is important for us to know if our applicants are, receiving services from any of our sister agencies or other agencies that are in the state of Massachusetts, or if none of the above. So let's go ahead and select maybe they're receiving services from DMH and DDS. We have MRC on here because they may be existing consumers that might utilize this online application and may be receiving services from a program, a supported living, let's say, because we noticed we didn't select that in the beginning. We only selected VR, SHIP, and home care. So that would be the chance for the individual to go ahead and select MRC if they were already an existing consumer. And then let's go ahead and select next. So as I said before, we kind of wanted to test this out so we can see. We noticed when we hit submit, Qualtrics kind of kicked us back to say, hey, you might want to look at your US postal code. It looks a little bit incorrect. So this would give us the opportunity to kind of review it before we finally submit our application. And we notice there's additional numbers here. So we'll go ahead and correct that. Scroll back through the bottom, ensure that we have everything in line here. We've answered all the questions appropriately, and then hit the next button. So this pretty much is winding us to the end of the survey. So now we're seeing the general release of information, that they're authorizing MRC to have this information to begin to work on contacting the consumer based on what was provided here and start working on a full application for them if needed. There's also an option here for consumers or applicants to go ahead and select any files that they believe might be helpful for MRC to know before they submit their application. I won't click it. I don't think it's necessary for this video demonstration, but instructions are here. You can drop files in this gray area, or you can click here to upload a file. Again, completely up to the consumer. And again, if they have it available, readily available, they can go ahead and do that. We also ask them to complete today's date. So let's go ahead and say September 10th, 2020. And then we see we're asking for our applicants to provide an electronic signature below to complete the application submission. Again, some logic here. So let's say maybe they don't want to provide their name. If they try to hit submit, you notice it won't submit because this is a forced response. So they need to sign this before they can even submit the application fully. Let's go ahead and just put in our name and then try to submit it again. As you can see, this has brought us to the end of the survey. We see we get the thank you message, that our response has been received, and someone from the MRC Connect team will be reviewing and may reach out to you for further follow-up information if needed. We also give them a time frame of how long it could take for someone to reach out to them from MRC regarding next steps in their application. And we also provide applicants at the end of the survey the MRC Connect number that they can also call, which is open from Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. More information about the MRC programs here that were listed in the front page, same kind of hyperlinks that they can just click and be redirected to the home page if they would like to learn more again. We've also included our MRC Twitter handle and also the MRC Facebook that individuals can click, and it will just bring them right to the web pages. At the end of the survey, we also ask consumers to kind of go through and leave us some feedback, so consumers can click this and it will redirect them to the online application feedback form where they can leave feedback for us based on their experience with completing the survey and any recommendations that they have on the online survey. So we encourage them to try to take that, and they do have the option to do that. So as we continue scrolling, we see that applicants have the option of downloading their PDF. So below is a summary of all of our responses. So if we go through it, it's everything that we've selected, contact information we provided. This was our application, everything we've inputted here, what they've submitted, and if they uploaded any documentation. Obviously we didn't, so there's nothing to show here. The date we've completed it, and then how our electronic signature that we've provided. So as we scroll back to the top, if applicants choose so, they can download this form and save it as reference in their files or print it out in the event they need it. So all they need to do is click download PDF. This may take a little bit, but give it some time and it'll pop up here. And then applicants can click on it, and it's just a PDF of everything that they've submitted. They can go ahead and save PDF. They can save it to anything on their desktop if they want. They can also just print it out if they choose to print it out. Completely up to them how they want to handle that. So this is pretty much the overall feel of the online application. We went through it, we selected multiple programs that our applicant may be interested in and found that maybe one is the best fit for them compared to the other two that we picked out of the three. And then as we went through the entire survey, we do see the end message, the online application feedback survey that they can take, and also a summary of responses that they can download and save for their file. So this concludes the video of the online application. Very brief, very simple. If you have any questions, we would direct you to connect with the MRC Connect unit at 617-204-3665. And again, that's open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and they can answer any questions you have regarding the online application. Thank you.